They'll only respect you when you disappear. It's a heavy statement. One that sounds harsh, maybe even cynical, but it's rooted in a truth that so many of us have felt at some point. You give everything, your time, your energy, your heart, and it's taken for granted. But the moment you step back, the moment you vanish, suddenly people notice, suddenly they care. That's what we're diving into today, and I'm not holding back. This is about understanding why that happens, how to navigate it, and how to reclaim your power without losing yourself in the process. Let's start with the idea of presence. When you're always there, always available, always the one who picks up the phone or shows up no matter what, you become part of the scenery. Think about it like this. You walk past the same tree every day on your way to work. You don't stop to admire it. You don't think about its roots digging deep into the earth or the way it sways in the wind. It's just there. People treat you the same way when you're too present. Your reliability, your consistency, it's comforting, sure, but it also makes you invisible. You're the safety net, the fallback, the one they know will always be around. And because of that, they don't have to think about you, they don't have to value you. It's not malicious, not always, it's just human nature. We take for granted what's familiar, what's guaranteed. I learned this the hard way, and I'm willing to bet you have too. I remember a time in my life when I was that person. I was the friend who'd drop everything to help someone move, the colleague who'd stay late to fix someone else's mistake, the family member who'd always mediate, always smooth things over. I thought that's what made me valuable. I thought my worth was tied to how much I could give. And for a while it worked, or at least it seemed to. People leaned on me, they thanked me, they'd throw me a "you're the best" here and there. But over time I noticed something. The thanks got shorter. The asks got bigger. And when I needed something, when I needed someone to show up for me, the room got real quiet. I was giving everything, but I wasn't getting respect, I was getting expectation. That's when it hit me. My presence was my problem. I was too available, too predictable. I was the tree they walked past every day. So what happens when you disappear? Not literally, not like you pack your bags and vanish into the wilderness, though sometimes I've fantasized about that. I mean, when you pull back, when you stop being the first to call, the first to offer, the first to sacrifice, it's like flipping a switch. Suddenly people notice you're not there. They feel the absence of that safety net and it shakes them. They start to wonder where you went, why you're not jumping through hoops anymore. And here's the kicker. That's when they start to respect you. Not when you're bending over backward, not when you're proving your worth with every breath, but when you show them you're not afraid to walk away. It's counterintuitive, but it's real. Absence creates value. Scarcity creates demand. It's why limited edition sneakers sell for thousands, why people chase after things they can't have. When you make yourself less available, you force people to reckon with your worth. Let me tell you a story. Sarah was the kind of person who'd always be there no matter what. If you needed a ride at 2 a.m., she'd grab her keys. If you were spiraling about a breakup, she'd sit on the phone with you for hours. She was everyone's rock, but it came at a cost. She was exhausted, drained, and deep down, she felt like nobody really saw her. One day, she hit a breaking point. She stopped answering every call, stopped saying yes to every favor. She didn't make a big announcement about it, she just faded out a little. She started focusing on herself, her work, her hobbies. At first, people were confused. Some got annoyed, like she owed them her time. But then something shifted. The same people who'd taken her for granted started reaching out more, checking in, asking how she was. They started valuing her time, her energy. Why? Because it wasn't guaranteed anymore. Sarah's disappearance, her decision to prioritize herself, forced them to see her differently. She didn't have to demand respect. She earned it by stepping back. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds manipulative, right? Like you're playing games, pulling some kind of power move, and I get it. It can feel that way. But here's the thing. This isn't about punishing people or trying to control them. It's about protecting yourself. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, your presence, they're finite. They're precious. And when you give them away without boundaries, you're not just shortchanging yourself. You're teaching others to devalue you. Disappearing isn't about being cold or distant. It's about creating space for mutual respect. It's about showing people that you respect yourself enough to not be taken for granted. And when you do that, the right people, the ones who truly value you, will step up. The ones who don't, well, they'll fade out too, and that's okay, that's clarity. Let's talk about why this dynamic happens, because it's not just random. It's wired into how we're built as humans. Psychologically, we're drawn to what's scarce. It's called the scarcity principle, and it's why people line up for hours to buy a phone that's only slightly different from the last one. When something is rare, we assign it more value. The same goes for people. When you're always around, always giving, you're not scarce. You're abundant, and abundance gets overlooked. But when you pull back, when you make it clear your time isn't infinite, you become rare. You become valuable. It's not about being aloof or pretending you don't care. It's about living like you know your worth, and trust me, people notice. They feel it when you shift from being a given to being a choice. There's another layer to this, and it's about power dynamics. When you're the one always giving, you're handing over your power. You're saying, I need to prove myself to you. But when you disappear, when you stop chasing approval, you take that power back. You're saying, I'm enough as I am and I don't need to perform for your validation. That shift is magnetic. It's why people suddenly start chasing you when you stop chasing them. It's why that friend who never texted back starts blowing up your phone when you stop reaching out. It's not because they're cruel or manipulative. It's because your absence forces them to confront what they've been taking for granted. And sometimes, it forces them to confront themselves. I want to pause here and address something important. Disappearing doesn't mean cutting everyone off or becoming someone you're not. It's not about building walls or shutting down emotionally, it's about balance. It's about giving as much as you get, about surrounding yourself with people who reciprocate your energy. If you're someone who loves to give, who finds joy in helping others, that's beautiful. Don't lose that, but make sure you're giving to people who see it, who appreciate it, who give back in their own way. Disappearing is just a tool, a way to reset the scales, to remind yourself and others that your presence is a gift, not an obligation. Let's get practical for a second. How do you actually do this? How do you disappear without burning bridges or feeling like you're betraying who you are? It starts small. Say no to something you'd normally say yes to, not out of spite, but because you're choosing yourself. Skip the group chat for a week and see who notices. Take a step back from that one-sided friendship where you're always the one initiating. Don't announce it, don't make a big deal, just do it. Focus on what lights you up instead. Pick up that hobby you've been neglecting. Spend time with people who make you feel seen, or just enjoy your own company. The goal isn't to vanish forever. It's to create enough space for people to miss you, to realize what you bring to the table, and when they do, you'll see who's worth keeping around. I've done this myself, and it's not easy at first. There's guilt. There's doubt. There's that voice in your head saying, what if they don't care? What if they don't notice? But here's what I've learned. The people who matter will notice. They'll reach out, they'll check in, they'll show you they value you. And the ones who don't? That's information. That's your cue to redirect your energy. I had a coworker once who I'd always cover for. No questions asked. When I stopped, when I started saying, sorry, I can't, I braced myself for pushback. But instead, they started respecting my time. They started asking instead of assuming. And the ones who didn't? I realized they weren't worth my energy. That's the power of disappearing. It's a filter. It shows you who's real and who's just along for the ride. There's a deeper truth here, and it's about self-worth. So much of why we overgive, why we make ourselves too available, comes from a fear that we're not enough. We think if we're not useful, if we're not needed, we'll be forgotten. So we hustle for approval. We chase connection, we try to earn our place. But respect doesn't come from how much you do for others. It comes from how much you value yourself. When you disappear, when you stop performing, you're forced to confront that fear. You're forced to ask, am I enough without all this effort? And the answer is yes, you are. But you have to believe it first. You have to live like it's true. Let's talk about the fallout, because disappearing isn't all roses. Some people won't like it. They'll push back, they'll guilt trip, they'll try to pull you back into old patterns. That's normal. When you change the rules, people get uncomfortable. They're used to you being the yes person, the fixer, the one who makes their life easier. When you stop, they have to adjust, and not everyone handles that well. I've had people accuse me of being selfish, of changing, of not being there anymore. And it stung, I won't lie. But I realized something. Their reaction wasn't about me. It was about them losing the version of me that served them. That's when I knew I was on the right path. Respect isn't about being liked. It's about being seen for who you are, not what you do. There's also the risk of loneliness, and I'd be lying if I said that's not a factor. When you pull back, there's a gap. You're not filling your time with the same people, the same obligations. That space can feel empty at first, scary even. But it's also an opportunity. It's a chance to rediscover yourself, to figure out what you want, who you want to be. I remember the first time I stopped saying yes to every social invite. I spent a lot of weekends alone, and at first it felt like failure. But then I started painting again, something I hadn't done since I was a kid. I started reading books I'd been meaning to get to. I started enjoying my own company. That's when I realized disappearing isn't just about other people, it's about finding yourself. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at this in different contexts, because this dynamic isn't just about friendships or family. It plays out in romantic relationships, in the workplace, even in how you interact with strangers. Take dating, for example. How many times have you seen someone chase after a partner, pouring in all their energy only to be met with indifference? But the moment they step back, the moment they stop texting first or planning every date, the other person suddenly wakes up. It's not because they're playing games, it's because that shift signals confidence, self-respect. The same goes for work. If you're always the one volunteering for extra projects, staying late, picking up the slack, you're not just burning out. You're telling your boss your time isn't valuable. Say no once in a while. Leave at 5 p.m. Watch how quickly they start valuing your contributions. There's a cultural angle to this too. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, that tells us we need to be on all the time. Social media doesn't help. Everyone's posting their highlight reels, their packed schedules, their endless productivity. It's easy to feel like you have to keep up, like you have to be available, responsive, present 24/7. But that's a trap. The more you buy into that, the more you dilute yourself. Disappearing, carving out time to unplug, to say no, to focus on what matters, isn't just rebellious, it's revolutionary. It's a way of saying, I'm not here to perform for the world, I'm here to live. I want to share another story, this time about a guy I know named Marcus. Marcus was a classic overgiver. He'd go out of his way for everyone, friends, co-workers, even acquaintances. He thought that's what made him a good person. But he was miserable. He felt like nobody really knew him, like he was just a means to an end. One day he decided to try something. He stopped being the first to reach out. He stopped offering favors unless someone asked directly. He started saying no to things that didn't align with his goals. At first he felt invisible, but then slowly things changed. His real friends started checking in more. His co-workers started respecting his boundaries. Even his family started appreciating him in a way they hadn't before. Marcus didn't disappear completely. He just stopped being everyone's doormat. And in that space, he found respect. He found himself. Let's talk about the long game, because this isn't just about quick fixes or temporary power moves. Disappearing, when done right, is about building a life where respect is the default. It's about surrounding yourself with people who see your worth without you having to prove it. It's about creating boundaries that protect your energy and your peace. Over time, you'll notice something. The people who stick around are the ones who get it. They're the ones who show up, who reciprocate, who make you feel valued. And the ones who don't, they'll fall away and you'll realize you're better off without them. That's not loss, that's growth. There's a flip side to this, and it's worth mentioning. Sometimes disappearing can backfire. If you pull back too hard too fast, you risk alienating people who genuinely care. It's not about ghosting everyone or becoming unreachable, it's about balance. You're not trying to punish anyone. You're trying to create space for healthier dynamics. Communication matters too. If you're stepping back from someone important, sometimes a simple, hey, I'm focusing on myself for a bit, can go a long way. The goal is clarity, not confusion. The goal is respect, not resentment. I want to circle back to the core of this, your worth. So much of why we struggle with being taken for granted comes from a fear that we're not enough. We think if we just do more, give more, be more, we'll finally be seen. But that's a lie. You don't earn respect by performing. You earn it by believing you deserve it. Disappearing is just a way to test that belief, to see who rises to meet you and who falls away. It's a way to remind yourself that you're not here to beg for scraps. You're here to build a life that feels as big as your heart. As we wrap up, I want you to think about one thing. Who in your life would notice if you disappeared? Not in a dramatic, I'm leaving forever way, but in a quiet, I'm choosing myself way. Who would reach out? Who would check in? And who would let you fade without a second thought? That's your map. That's your guide to where your energy should go. Start small. Say no to one thing this week. Step back from one person who's been draining you. See what happens. You might be surprised at how much power you've been giving away. and how much you can take back. They'll only respect you when you disappear, so go ahead. Disappear a little, see who shows up, and more importantly, see who you become.